adaptation from a novel. Can you talk a little bit about the genesis of the project, what drew you to the source material, and how you guys went about collaborating on turning this into a film?
Sure. Genesis. So I, after our first movie, I read the book. Joe R. Lansdale wrote the book. He had done Bubba Hotep, he's most known for, and I read the book, picked it up, read it in one very quick night, and felt just like you guys probably feel now of how the hell does movie start with a guy shooting somebody in his living room and then end where it ends. And I just loved it. So the next day I gave it to Linda and then Adam and gave it to Nick and said, you know, what if we made a movie out of this? And we made a movie out of it.
What were some of the challenges in turning it from a novel into a book? There's so many different tonal challenges with this film. It's a lot of different things, like a lot of your movies. It's a number of different genres and sort of pulpy sensibilities mixed together. How did you turn that into a coherent film that made sense to you guys and to an audience?
Well, I think, you know, the first draft was very, very, very long, and I think we sort of learned on the fly the art of, I think Nick's specialty is externalizing big ideas that exist in the character's head. So the book is written from Richard Dane's perspective, and he makes a lot of crazy decisions, a lot more crazier than just the ones in the movie. And I think we had to figure out ways to make that work in a cinematic language as opposed to something where you're narrating something in 2 chapters. And I think Nick made some excellent calls in there. That train scene, saving Sam from the train tracks, was not in the book. That was, you know, a couple chapters of deliberating and thinking about it and then making a conscious decision to bail Shepard out of prison. All stuff that I think Nick did a pretty awesome job of solving. And then the edit room, a lot of it was the edit room, and it was Don giving us 8 million different ways to do things on his side, and trusting us in the edit room, and Michael making sure that in the second half, you know, once Sam's character steps up, that he's always got that connection to him, even when Sam isn't giving him that connection. Yeah.
Sam's here, by the way.
So, speaking of the cast here, could you guys, there's a question really for everyone, how did you guys all get involved? How did you manage to swing such an incredible cast for this? And then for Don and Michael, what was it that drew you to this material? What stood out? You guys are both, you know, obviously have your choice of roles. What was the thing about this script and this project that you guys were attracted to?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that assumption. But I read this about a year before I saw these guys at Sundance, which was a little over a year ago, and I loved it. And I loved it because it felt like 3 movies in one in a really delicious way, and broke its own rules. And you know, it was ultimately a hint of what it ultimately became visually. But I loved it, and I loved the character. I saw Nick at a party, and he brought me over to Jim, and I just gave him the hard sell, and I don't know, the ball started rolling.
I don't know how I got the script. It ended up in my hands, and I was thrilled to get to page 11 and not know what was going to happen. And that doesn't happen very often. In fact, it's the exception, not the rule. And so then I met Mr. Mickle here, who, you know, after you've been doing this as long as I have, you get kind of an instinct and an intuition about people. And I got that from Jim. He had this, he had film sense. I just asked him a few questions. We talked about style and stuff like that, and he had a quiet confidence that only comes with a director who actually knows what he's doing. And so after that, it was just really, you know, about filling in the blanks with my buddy Sam Shepard. And that's all I have to say about that.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Don, that I've never asked you. What did you think when you got the script and your character didn't pop up until like page 60? Were you like, what the fuck?
No, I was warned about that.
Oh, okay.
And you know, when he does make an entrance, it's fairly profound.
I was wondering also, you were talking about filling in the blanks. Read in a couple of the other interviews that you've done that there was some back and forth between the cast filling the blanks, that you left some spots open. Can you guys all talk about that a little bit? How much room there was for individual input?
Yeah, I think, you know, Sam obviously made the biggest contribution. He wrote that scene with shooting the bottles, you know. We had wrestled with that scene, the dialogue for that for a long time. So that was another thing that wasn't in the book. We sort of invented that and had to find a new way to do that. And we always sort of left it open thinking, you know, we'll figure it out once we get an actor to figure out how that's supposed to play. And then we gave it to Sam, and overnight he typed it on a typewriter and brought it the next day. And he had written that whole passage about putting a dog down. I thought that was kind of awesome. These guys ran. You changed much of your. You changed a lot, actually. You would come in with your own lines. You would come in and say, like, we don't need this, we don't need this.
I don't remember, and I know the director, so I can get away with it.
Nick is the master of always taking away his lines. The only writer actor I know who's constantly taking away his own lines.
Also, another question for you guys, Michael and Don. Michael, in particular, your career is built around a lot of roles where death figures extremely prominently, and the repercussions of death are really a huge part of it. And I was just wondering what your thoughts might be on that. I mean, it's not just that people die in movies; that happens a lot in action films. But death, you know, in 6 Feet Under, and so much of the work you've done, death is central to what the whole movie is about, or the whole TV series and that sort of thing. Obviously, Dexter, there's some death that's kind of important in it. So wondering what makes you so excited about death?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't embark on a career with some sort of mission statement that said I had to be surrounded by dead bodies in one way or another. But I guess I am drawn to things that deal with maybe weightier themes, and we have nothing more in common than the fact that we're all going to die. Good. So yeah, I guess that's a part of it. I don't know if I had some sort of litmus test that, you know, where I look at something and say, wait, I kill somebody in the first phase? I'm not doing this. What am I, crazy? But it was too good. It was like I had to do it in spite of the fact that, I mean, he's very different from Dexter. And in a way, it was therapeutic when Dexter ended to go do this movie because I got to play a person who had a much more panicked, bewildered, and human response to killing someone without meaning to.
That's great.
Kill 'em and chill 'em.
That's the name of the new series.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kill 'em and chill 'em, right there.
So unfortunately, we don't have time for much more because we've got to shoot across town and do this again on 23rd Street. But thank you guys all so much for being here for this. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you all for